After the 4th generation of Pokemon disappointed him so much, my brother tossed me all of his Pokemon stuff in disgust. I received hundreds of cards to add to my collection, a couple of plushes, and the Diamond game that completely swept away his love for the game. That chapter of his life came to a close, while mine just gained something to continue on with. Diamond and Pearl weren't exactly my favorite games either, but I wasn't going to give up on the series just because one game disappointed me. I started up his saved game to see what all he had. His save information said that he had all the Pokemon in his Pokedex, even the ones that had yet to be released through wireless events, which reminded me that he really enjoyed using action replay codes to enhance his gaming experience. That was probably the only thing that caused him to keep the game for as long as he did, but even cheating gets old after a while. After starting his game, I checked his party. He had 6 shiny level 100 Rayquaza. Like all the other Pokemon he owned, he caught them using the lengthy Encounter Any Pokemon code, where you had to discard heart scales to indicate which Pokemon you wanted to catch at level 100. While the Pokemon encountered with this code were about as weak as if you had given them a large number of rare candy, I still recall losing to these 6 frequently. I had used this code myself throughout my first playthrough of Pearl, and traded the Pokemon acquired through it across the net to increase my chances of winning at the lottery. While he needed no Pokemon to complete his Pokedex, and he didn't need to win any extra items, trading was always fun just to see where they came from. So I went to Jubilife City to the Global Trading Center to see what I can get for one of these Rayquaza. I know I could have traded anything, but I held a bit of a grudge against these 6 for beating me so badly all these times. Once in the trading network, I chose Bronzong as the Pokemon I wanted in return. No real reason, it was just on the first list. And I set the required level to be 100, just to make it more or less an even trade. With my trade requirements set, and the Rayquaza deposited, I backed out of the trade menu to exit the room, but I was pulled back in immediately. My trade had been completed. I received a shiny Bronzong named Hellbell in return. After leaving the GTS, I checked its stats. Everything was set at 666, and its old trainer was named BLs. Someone was really leaning into this bit. It was caught at Lost Tower, but contained in a Cherish Ball. Clearly it was hacked, but that's what I get for offering up a hack first. With its stats set that high, this Pokemon would be an unstoppable beast. I could sweep the game easily if I were started. But where's the fun in that? So I tried offering it up for trade again. But each time I tried to put it in the GTS, the game informed me that the Pokemon couldn't be offered in a trade. Which was odd. I had literally just received it in a trade. So I decided to release it. I may not be the most religious person anymore, but I still have an "if you speak it, he will come" superstition. I felt like keeping it would just be inviting something in. Funny. Before I went to the PC, I checked the item it was holding. The sender had attached mail to it, which was always fun, even though your choices for what to say were severely limited, and the letters always came out painfully cheesy. That's one of the things I didn't like about the new games, the revamp of the mail system. I opened the mail, and though the letter wasn't set up like it normally was in the game, it looked like it had actually been typed out like you used to be able to do in Gold and Silver. The message was only 3 words long. Take me back. I wasn't quite sure what that meant. I certainly couldn't trade it again. Even if I could, there was no way to make sure that Hellbell got back to BLs, so I discarded the message and went to the PC to release it. I selected the Deposit Pokemon option and selected Hellbell to release it, but each time the party sprite shrunk away, it immediately came back with the message saying something along the lines of, "Hellbell doesn't want to leave you." Again, this had happened before when I was cleaning out my PC box in my second playthrough of Pearl. I decided to release the Shanks that I had caught early on in the game, but it kept coming back. I thought it was cute then, and made the Shanks, now a Luxray, a permanent member of my party since it appeared to like me so much. But now it was just annoying. When I checked Hellbell again, it was holding another mail item. I opened it up and read a slightly longer message. "I can't go back on my own. Take me back." Again, I took the item and tried to release it. Another failure. When I tried to just deposit it, the game told me to remove the mail item from the Pokemon before depositing. Now, I know that I had. Twice. But upon checking it again, Hellbell had yet another item in its possession. Lost Tower. It was finally getting more specific, which I found oddly relieving rather than feeling a little uneasy. At least I knew we were wanted to go. Maybe I'd leave my party after I took it there. Eager to get rid of it, I left the GTS building and stepped into Jubilife. I taught one of the Rayquazas the move Fly, and used it. But when I picked Celestion Town from the map, the game informed me that I couldn't fly there. I know my brother had visited the city before, so I don't know why I couldn't go there, but I didn't take the time to actually think about it. I just flew to Hearthome instead. I didn't waste any time in Hearthome. I simply left to travel through Route 209 to get to the Lost Tower, and hopefully rid myself of this strange Pokemon somehow by taking it to where it wanted to go. I immediately noticed the lack of people on the route. Granted, I don't remember who all was there to battle and talk to, but I know there were at least a few there. The area was now completely vacant. Well, not completely. There was one person quickly pacing back and forth where I believe an athlete once ran. It was a sprite-up and a white-haired old man. Curious, I spoke to him. He didn't say anything that made sense, he just babbled over and over. Ring the bell, 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 ring the bell. I didn't bother speaking to him again. I just continued on to the tower. Once inside, I tried to go up the stairs, but something prevented me from moving for a moment. I thought all the hacked Pokemon in the game had finally made it through up, but that wasn't the case. After a moment of complete silence, the sound of a deep, brazen bell began to toll slowly. After 4 rings, the tombstone at the center of the room cracked and shattered like someone had used rock smash on it. Beneath the tombstone was a hole, and since it wasn't allowing me to go up the stairs, I walked over and fell through it. When I landed, I fell on a platform much like the one you find Arceus on in the Hall of Origin. Only it was much darker. Where the transparent was white and glowing for Arceus, this one was more of a black and red. It seemed evil rather than the holy vibe you get from the Hall of Origin. Coming from the platform was a set of wide stairs leaning downward that looked as if they were made of black marble rather than white. There was no way back up. I couldn't fly, I didn't have any escape ropes or Pokemon would teleport or dig. So I took the stairs and the bell, which I now assume was Hellbell considering that Bronzong is indeed a sort of bell, continued to ring slowly. By now I was feeling a little uneasy, but I continued down the stairs. As I went further, it began to get foggy and a little darker. When I reached the bottom, I was met with a narrow path with large pools of lava on either side. It was beginning to look more like the cave in which you encounter Groudon in RSC. The path continued in a straight line for entirely too long before hanging right for another equally long time, and finally going up. The path was long, lava still bubbled at the side, and with each step I took, the ringing of the bell began to go faster, at least as fast as a large bell was allowed to ring, which was still just an ominous, slow tolling. Though with each ring, I couldn't help but repeat what the old man and NPC had said earlier. Ring the bell. Finally, I reached the end of the pathway, which was just a small 4x4 platform, and the bell stopped ringing. I wondered what I was supposed to do here. There was nothing here, no way to release Hellbell, and no way to get out. I received my answer in the form of a disembodied voice. A dialogue box popped up and said, "Oh, you've returned Hellbell to me. I greatly appreciate it." He faded into view one space in front of my character. It was just a simple gentleman sprite. As Hellbell appeared between us as if I had sent it out, the game informed me that I had handed it over. Afterwards, a prompt popped up on the touchscreen. It looked like the part of the trainer card where you sign your name. Again, the voice spoke. "Would you mind telling me your name, please, so that I may thank you properly?" Now, this confused me. Well, everything that was happening confused me. But this kind of threw me for a loop. The game should know the character name programmed into it from the start, and as far as I know, it can't actually recognize handwriting. Regardless, I began writing my brother's character's name, which was Dust. I made the first stroke, and it was in black ink, just like normal. Then I made the D, but the voice stopped me. No, your real name, please. I can't thank you with a false name, you know." My heart felt like it stopped for a second. How did the game know that I wasn't signing my real name? "Your real name, please." Again, I began writing. Why was I listening to this, watching it all play out when I could easily just turn it off or start a completely new game? I don't know. The thought simply didn't cross my mind at the time. I don't think it was allowed to. The ink in which I was now writing was a bright red color, but I still wrote my full name, first and last, in the space that was provided. After I was finished, the man spoke again. "Good. Now blow, please. We don't want the ink to smudge." I blew into the mic, and the ink turned from bright to deep red. I was unable to make any changes after that. Afterwards, The screen disappeared and the man spoke again. "Thank you, dear. You'll be happy to know that you now belong to me." The bell rang twice more as my sprite turned to face me and slowly changed from the standard Lucas sprite to something else. Long brown hair, glasses, purple shirt, black pants. How I looked at the moment, right down to my clothing. That was me. Hellbell moved forward, overlapping my sprite, and a final dialogue box popped up. Hellbell used in prison.